Good morning, everybody. My name is Paul Kalamir. This is your city, your voice. Look at the sign if you don't believe me. That's what it is. And
it could be a forgery.
It could be a forgery. And I'm here with Dave Wheels Wheeler. And guess what we're here for today, Dave?
Could it be a city agenda?
It could be the city agenda. That's what we're here for. That's why we come in and do this gig right here on Mondays before a city council meeting. And we are in the studios of 4680Q in downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. One of the 7 natural wonders of the world. So if you don't like that, you don't like anything, believe me. Well, Davey boy, it's been a beautiful weekend. Hot, just gorgeous, sunny, 78 degrees when I got up at 5 in the morning. And it's hot, like 82 out there. The humidity's gone up by 50%. It was 39% humidity when I woke up. Now it's about 90. And we're going to get going on the city council agenda, Dave. It's pretty short agenda. There's not a lot on it. We're going to go through the important parts for you, of course, and tell you what they're all about. And of course, the meeting is tomorrow at 4 o'clock. It starts for us. It starts for city council at 2, of course. They go in camera to have pizza and wings and do top secret stuff. Like they're like James Bond over there at City Hall.
Yeah, but you can hear the party music in there. You know, it's always the same stuff, right?
Celebrate
Yeah.
YMCA. Yeah, so anyway, they have a good time before for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, before they come on and show us their business side. Which,
yeah, they have to drink and take recreational drugs just to handle what's coming.
Oh, yeah, there's some good stuff coming on. And it should be a short meeting as long as the time wasters don't get involved and start pushing it to the limit. I'd say this really should go on for like about 3 hours. 7:30 at the most, 8 o'clock. They should be out of there. That's what they should be. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Usually they take it past 10 o'clock. You think they got paid by the hour, but we are paying by the hour, like $1,600 an hour for them to sit there and talk about city business. So we want it short, Dave.
We want them in a tent outside.
Yeah. So everybody else is living in the city. What the hell?
Yeah.
No, but I got to get to my sponsors first, right? Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, Hamill Machine Company, and of course, Niagara Parks Commission, our newest sponsor here. So it's hot out there. The kids are out of school. They want to go places. They want to go to the beach. They want to go to the pool. They want to go all over the place. And you know what? You want to get them there safely, and you want to make sure you get there without breaking down. So what do? You give Ken Hunter a call at Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. And guess what Ken's going to say? Yes, bring your car in. Yes, we're going to put it on our diagnostic equipment. Yes, we're going to check your brakes, your fluids. We're going to make sure your air conditioning's working. So you have a happy motoring summer. You got to go down to see Ken on Oakwood Drive next to the Kia dealership. WildBillsAuto.ca is where you go to see all the different services he provides. He is fantastic. And he has a full body shop. So if you get in a wreck, guess what? Take your car in wreck, comes back to you showroom condition. You're happy. He's happy. Everybody's happy. And that's the way you want it in the summer. And while you're at wildbillsauto.ca, don't forget to subscribe to this video. That's right. Right down here. Or is it down here? I can never tell. But anyway, there's a subscribe button. Smash that button. Come on, hit it. Hit it. Only about 30 or 40% of the people who view the video actually hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. You'll get a notification when I drop the next video. You'll be able to hear the likes of Dave Wheeler.
That's right, but I don't want you to smash down here.
Yes. Yeah. That's a good point. I always go to the side
to
avoid that problem. But anyway, subscribe. Come on. Subscribe. Let's go. And don't forget, my shirt for city council meeting is use it. Please use it. And we want everybody in city council to please use it when they're making decisions. Come on.
I'm using mine. That's why it's getting hot in here.
It's getting hot in here. Okay, so let's get right into it, Davey boy. It looks like a pretty tight agenda, and if the time wasters don't take over, like I said, it'll be a short meeting. There's not a lot on there. There's no planning matters at all.
Well, it does make a lot of room for verbosity, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
We may be victimized by
We start with the preliminaries of O Canada, and I didn't see anybody listed to perform it. Are they going to have like a tape recording of the Clyde Sousa band or something? I didn't see anything.
Jim likes the video thing, so he may get up there and do this song.
Maybe Counselor Peter Angelo Strange will get up there. Maybe they'll do a duet. Oh, Canada. I'd like to see that.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
that would be
nice.
good, right? If they got up there and sang "Oh Canada," I think that would be great. I'd come in, but I'd clear the council chambers. Nobody wants to listen to me.
Yeah. When I do busking, they pay me to go away.
Yeah, please stop.
Here's 50 left.
Then comes all the appointments, deputations, and presentations, in which my estimate should be outside of City Council in the appropriate buildings. If it's arts, it's at the Exchange. If it's sports, it's at the Gale Center. If it's city stuff, it's at the McBain Center. And get it out of the business meeting that's costing us $1,600 an hour. That's my opinion, Dave, but I digress. We're going to move on to the schedule. And I know you kind of agree with me.
I do. Definitely.
Don't mind
Look,
me. Right.
We don't want, I get it. The council's got to get up and make themselves known to their electorate. Otherwise, they might think they're not doing anything. But keep it brief, keep it succinct, keep it to the point, be business-like.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a business meeting, right?
No
It's
more
not
of this. Isn't that a wonderful building? It will suit the city so well. I really like the doors. I really like the windows. And oh my, thank you so much. Meanwhile, the guy's hoping, he's building a building. He's going to make huge coin,
yeah. Item 8.1 is raw. I found my start. You got anything before that, Dave?
8.1 here.
It's a pilot program to launch regarding short-term rentals where the owner also occupies the rental.
Yes. And we found that during the weekend, they had a blitz on and they did 24 fines for not owner occupied, but other ones where there was a name for it. I wrote it down. I can't remember what, but it is an occupied place where unoccupied, where somebody's bought the home and rents it out.
That's right. Absent landlords.
Yeah, absent landlord.
They're not licensed. They have to be licensed in the proper area.
Yes.
If they're not going to be there.
So they hit them up. However, the owner occupied, even if they're not in the proper area, they've held back on that. They've held back on that because they have to make decisions on that right now.
That's right. And this was before council, and it was controversial before council. There was a lot of people in there that don't want them at all, owner occupied or anything else, because sometimes the owner puts people in, then takes off for the weekend and leaves them there alone. There was a lot of different scenarios. They go away, they leave their son there or something to run this thing, and he can't do it. And a lot of them, they're going away, so they rent their place for a weekend. They're not even there, even though they own the house.
Yeah,
they slip out. So there was a lot of controversy around this. But we'll wait and see if council approves it tonight. Now, personally, I think it's a great idea. I think owner-occupied rentals would be a lot better than just leaving it to some slumlord in Toronto who doesn't bother coming down, don't care about the property, don't police the property. And the only time he knows there's any problems, because he's not there or she's not there, is if they get a call from the cops or something, right?
Well, you forgot they're not there.
Yeah, they, he, she, they, them.
They, yeah.
It, Wang, who knows?
But the problem here is multifold. Number one, this is a thing that's going to go on continually. These kind of rentals, these short-term rentals in a home, is just going to persist. And there is no stopping it. So there have to be regulations put upon it. But it also has to be regulated, because how much damage is it doing to other rentals? How many, the hotels have always brought this up. The counter of that argument is less and less people can afford the fancy hotels, and we're needed to bring in more people. So where is that balance? Where is that balance where there is enough places for people to go in homes that are a lot cheaper, that they can visit the falls without infringing upon those businesses that are already here? So you're going to get the hotels never too happy about this, because there's a rivalry between them. But on the other hand, they're saying, well, these people wouldn't come if they didn't have an affordable place to go anyway. And these are just ordinary families or travelers. We're not talking about the party bunch that make a lot of noise.
And also you have Stan Cho, who's the Minister of Tourism, who says that they want to expand tourism. They want to double tourism from 13, 14 million to 28, 30 million in the next few years. So with that, there's going to be a need for more rooms. It's been 17 years since they built a hotel in this city.
17.
17 years since they put up the last hotel.
Well, they have a lot of capacity.
They have capacity. They have the planning.
Yeah.
They've given them okays, but nothing's been built.
Yeah, well, if they do expand their tourist trade too, but remember, it's going to have to be on every level. When I go into a city or a town, I'll take the cheapest hotel I can get, or place I can stay, because just haven't got that coin to go into these hotels.
Bates
right?
Motel.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. like the Star Hotel on Highway 3. I remember that. If anyone's been there,
but I think that if anybody's going to control it, it's going to be owner occupied, because they got to live there too, and their neighbors. It's a different story than when you're living in Toronto. All the neighbors are complaining, they hate the place, and they don't hear a word of it because they're in Toronto. They don't care, and they come down once a year to collect the rents. The pre authorized checks. That's all they come down for. They don't just transfer the money these days. So you never really get anybody here controlling the situation.
Well, yeah, these are investment properties. People have bought them, and they felt, well, rather than get a full-time tenant, they'll do this. It'll make them more money, and they'll have less responsibilities, and that takes away from rental units that would otherwise be available for local people. That was another issue.
Yeah,
more and more of these homes going over to rentals are quite often homes that used to have long-term rentals.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the only problem I see is parking. Because there's always that problem with parking where most families, like, look, it's pouring rain out. All of a sudden, decide to let go. I love it. We need it, especially the Meteor Crater, which is 50 or 60% covered with weeds by this time. But I think that
we're waiting for 100%.
It ain't that far off. I think that parking becomes a big problem too on the streets, because if you got a family living there, owner occupied, with a couple kids, they probably have a car each and 2 cars for the adults. That's 4 cars. Where do the guests that they're putting down the basement in the extra room stay? And that's another problem. But we'll see what city council says.
Part of the regulations, or part of what they're looking at as regulating this, is to make it difficult for anybody just to do it. So they're going to have parking, and they're going to have to demonstrate that these are safe, habitable places. There's a bunch of regulations that is not saying that you can't do it, but you have to oblige by these conditions.
Rules.
Yeah. So that when somebody does come, they're not parking on the street, etc. And there's limitations about how far away you could be from that short-term rental person. You have to be within reach of them.
Yeah, and I know that for commercial, for sure, there's all kinds of rules. I don't know what the rules for owner occupied are. They
haven't really been formed, and that's part of the reason why the owner occupied short-term rentals. Now, this is a report, and they have to think of the impact on the housing market, as we said, impact on long-term rentals, as we said.
Yep.
And they're obliging feedback they got from January and March from the public. And of course, they have to figure out what SDA, which is short-term accommodation, USTRA, which is owner-occupied short-term rental, and
USTRA.
Yeah. So they're worried about reductions of visitors, but on the other hand, vacation rental units, only 64 of them so far have been registered, and there's a lot more of them out there. So it's an ongoing thing. They're not going to go away, so they might as well address it and put controls on it.
Good. We'll see what happens tonight at the meeting. That's going to be an interesting item 8.1. So if you're watching, tune into that and take a look at that, and we'll see what they say. Item 8.2 gets back to the women that were thrown out of council last council meeting, and allegedly because they had signs holding "Women of Ontario Say No."
Yes.
Now, I said this on my show so many times so far, right? I said this right after it happened, that this violates the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. You cannot trespass people, and this is why they weren't arrested, from public property, unless they're causing a disturbance or they're having signs with racist slurs. That is also against the Charters of Rights and Freedoms, right? I mean, this policy and their whatever they got down to City Hall does not supersede your right to hold a sign in that meeting if you're not causing a disturbance. And they're going to find out about that. And they're going at it again tonight. Council's doubling down on it because these women are supposed to be there again tonight. And council says if they come, they're going to throw them out again. Because this is policy and procedure. And this is but they don't understand. I mean, they don't understand what the law is. There is no law. There's no law that could trespass them. You're allowed to be in public buildings as a taxpayer. So we own the building. You can't throw us out of our own building.
Well, yeah, but there are limitations, and
Right.
Burgess has expressed them very well in his reply to this. And he cites the laws, and he cites the conditions of free expression,
Mhm.
and all of those things. And free expression is allowed as long as you don't impinge or infringe on someone. And they say that a sign can do that. So if a sign particularly directed towards one counselor, and we know that those signs were directed at, a singular counselor, basically, as a result of the situation he finds himself in, then that is an imposition on the counselor's freedom and the other council's freedom.
Well, no, but it says Women of Ontario Say No, which is a movement to change the bylaw as far as who can run and sit on city council. It has nothing to do with him, although Jason Burgess gaslighted everybody and said it did. And council walked out too, and I can't believe that. I mean, this is ridiculous. They have to look at the Charter of Rights and Freedoms and decide, is this some kind of a communist city, or are we going to let people have the right to free speech? That's what it's all about. And they can spin it any way they want, but the constitutional people are looking into this, and they're going to charge City Hall because they did violate the Constitution of Canada, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Well, we find
Canadian Constitution Foundation.
Well, we find that the right to demonstrate is being challenged everywhere in the West right now.
Well, that's another part of this meeting we'll get to later on.
Yeah,
we're going to get to that later on. But yeah, this is going to be interesting, and you can have all your own opinions. That's what we're here for. We're to give opinions and everything else. But at the end of the day, there are rights that people have, and they can't just take rights away because of policy and procedure or their orders of conduct and that kind of thing. That they're not laws. They're things they make up and that they go by, but they're not laws. You can't arrest people or have them drugged out of a meeting because of it.
Well, we'll see. Burgess says that they are complying with the law and that they are within the Constitution and within the regulations of that Constitution in the space that they have, the assembly space they have.
Maybe in Antarctica, he's right.
Well, he cited the laws, and it was a convincing argument. I read it, wow. and this because of that, because of this. He also says it was not not reported. It was erroneously reported by the review. It gave you the wrong impression of what was happening and what was allowable and what wasn't. And we find that other places in Ontario have these restrictions as well. So we'll see.
Yeah, how I know he's wrong?
How do you know?
Because they're bringing it back to City Council to talk about it again. That's why. If it was right, they would just leave it. But no, they're bringing it back.
Well, I think they discussed what he's written. And in any case, they have a perfect right to make that. But as the law is now, no counselor can be.
It's not a law. It's their policy.
No, I'm talking about the law so far that says no counselor can be restricted from doing his duty no matter what he's done.
Yeah, that's what the law is right now about counselors sitting on council. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what they're trying to change with the Women of Ontario Say No.
Yeah, but that might not be a policy change. It might have to be a governmental change.
Well, it is. That's what they're looking for. That's what they're trying to do. So, okay, well, that's going to be an interesting one. So check out that 8.2 and 8.3 because that's what that's all about. And there should be some kind of a little battle going on about that. I got to get to my second sponsor, yep. Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. And everybody likes pizza, right, Davey boy?
I love it. That's why I'm so
we like pizza. So what do I like about pizza? Number one, I like it to be made right. Making pizza is an art. Number two, I like it to be consistent. And of course, the sauce and the crust and the taste and the blend and the right ratios between cheese and sauce and everything. That's what makes a good pizza, and that's where Pete's Pizza really shines. They use the Mancini family recipe developed and being used for 40 years with Pete's Pizza, small franchise in the Niagara region, and they know what they're doing. Their crust is fantastic. Everything's put together right. These guys at Pete's Pizza know how to make a pizza, and they cook it right, and it comes out hot and fresh. It's a fantastic pizza. They don't just make pizza, Dave.
Really?
They have wings, they have panzerotti, steak and cheese poutine, steak sandwiches. They got it all. You're going to be happy no matter what you do in the menu. They're open till 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturday, till midnight during the week. So when you get those munchies, you know where to go. Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. They always have specials going on. Check out their website, petespizzavictoria.ca, to see their specials every month.
Toughest part is ordering what you want to order. What am I going to get?
Yeah, there's so much there. Am I going to get pizza and fries, wings and fries? Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Pizza and pizza?
Pizza. You're going to have everything. You're going to love it. Just give them a call today, 905-374-2222, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. Get your hot pizza today. You know you'll want one. And support our sponsors. They support the show. They support the city. They're good corporate citizens, and we want to support our local businesses. Okay. So we're going to see 8.1, 8.2, and 3 are going to be very interesting, especially tune in, try to tune in a little early. Maybe they might show the ladies trying to get thrown out. I don't think the cops will show up this time, though. They're not policy enforcement. They're not emotion enforcement. They are law enforcement, and they shouldn't be throwing people out because they don't have the right to do that.
Well, they might not bring the signs because they want to address council. And that's
they're not going to let them do a delegation. They won't let them because they say we have legal proceedings, so they won't let them. That's the problem.
Even though it's here, so it's on the agenda, they're not going to let them speak, though. Okay.
Yeah, they turned them down last time, and they said they're going to do the same this time.
I think they turned them down because they wouldn't get rid of their signs.
No, they wouldn't let them delegate because they said they have ongoing legal issues.
Okay.
Which is baloney. But
I'll remember that when I have to pay a bill. You got to pay your bill. Oh, no.
I get ongoing legal issues. Anything between 8.3 and 9.1 for you, Davey?
I wouldn't mind going back to the Nikola Tesla day. It was earlier in the agenda.
Okay, yeah.
It's Nikola Tesla day, but I really want to zoom in on what Jim Dowdaddy said in this little video. He says, "Oh, well, Nikola Tesla day is great, and he changed water power into electricity. At the time, people thought it was witchcraft." Did you see that?
No, I never saw that.
Yeah.
What the heck kind of video?
Yeah, I thought to myself, oh man, where have you been? I mean, did
you
go to school
or what?
Yeah, so people say, oh well, you can't convert water into electricity because that's that's
witchery.
I don't know where he gets that, but the other thing is, what is it with Nikola Tesla? He was a forgotten hero, and now he's an over-embellished hero. But in any case, you can get some nice entertainment out of it. But that video, look at Jim Dowdaddy's video when he says that people used to think it was witchcraft, and then Nikola Tesla figured out a way. Right?
Did you forget about Edison, or?
Well, Edison, yeah, it's like ever since Faraday, probably even before Faraday. Faraday was in 1830. They knew then that there are ways of converting motion, electromagnetic motion into power, and it was just a matter of time to develop the technology. Nikola Tesla didn't invent, but he perfected or had the idea of using AC current, and that was the real seal. Like that really made it. Him and George Westinghouse as his backer, and from then on, like that made transmission of power easy and relatively easy, much more easier than Edison's system.
Yeah, than DC. Yeah.
But it, no one around that time ever thought it might be witchcraft.
Well, King James the Weird.
It was, 1890, not 1690.
He was in Salem.
Yeah.
Was he hanging around Salem in those days?
Yeah.
Anything else you got there? Or?
No, I just thought to
Okay,
point out
okay,
because that
that's
was rather
funny.
amusing.
I'm gonna watch that video now. Now you got me hooked. Okay, 9.1 is interesting. Council is approving the transfer of $10,000 from the downtown BIA unspent levy to a group called the QSA, Queen Street Area Community Group. Now, the representative, Sandor Ligatfalvi, he runs his show out of the Innovation Hub. And, here we go again. Whenever I hear Innovation Hub, I think, yeah, there's something up here. I have no idea what this person's qualifications are to run a marketing program for downtown, but I do agree something is needed. And I don't know, Dave, do you think handing over $10,000 to a guy because he says he can market downtown, he's really, I don't know what his qualifications are. I couldn't figure it out, but
Well, this is not his first kick of the can. He's been working at this for some time. He's presented to City Hall before, or at least been in contact with the politicians. At this particular point, they don't have a BIA. There is this fella here, and his was it QSA or whatever it is?
yeah, Queen Street Area Community Group, he calls
Community
it.
group, yeah. So the politicians, our council, seems to have faith in him now. They are they're convinced enough that this should happen, because what is not happening so far is the marketing of downtown and the website stuff and all other communications trying to promote downtown. That's not happening. This guy says he can do it. He's demonstrated the way in which he can do it. It looks like the councilors have confidence in him to be able to do that, and that probably is just as well with most of what used to be the BIA down here. So we'll see what he does, but he seems to have his ducks in a row, or at least he's pretty convincing at this point. We'll see how he does. $10,000, not a whole lot of money these days, but if with media the way it is now, you can go a long way with a little bit. So we'll see how it works, but it does have to be promoted. And the city itself is not going to do it. The city staff are not going to do it. They don't have a BIA. So he's made a convincing argument that he can establish that. So I say give him his head.
Yep, let the results be the judge, I guess, right?
Yep.
Let the results be the judge. Give him 10 grand, see what he can do. If he blows it and is a disaster, then throw him out, and that's the end of that.
Yeah, loose the reins on him and see what happens.
Yeah. Good luck, Sandor. That's all I can say. I'm at from 9.3 or 9 point whatever that was. I'm at 12.2. Do you see anything in between?
Well, 9.2 is the low income seniors and disabilities,
Yep.
water,
Yeah.
which seems to be pretty good. I don't know the extent of the rebates, but they're trying to make it more easier for seniors to stay in their homes, but giving them a break on taxes, also on their water bills. Also, people with disabilities, which I celebrate, big time, because let's face it, even though all things are supposed to be equal, people with disabilities have less earning power normally than the rest of us.
True.
And abilities to get into the higher paid jobs. Sometimes they can't even work. So, and seniors, they could use a break. So they're the ones that should be, if you're going to give anybody a break, those are the ones.
No, that's it. So if you're a senior,
Plus, seniors spend their money anyway.
Disability, yeah, they do. You're on disability or you're a senior, and you can get rebates, which is great for you. So what number is that? What item is that?
That was 9.2.
9.2. So tonight at the city council meeting, or tomorrow night at the city council meeting, look what they say about 9.2, and be aware of the rebates that you can get from city council for being disabled or old or whatever, right? So there you go. Any others there, Dave, before 12.2?
Well, the children's walkway, that seems, a memorial walkway seems to be a sad thing to me, but if it brings closure to parents, I think that's probably good.
Yep.
And that's at
Fireman's
Park.
Yeah. Yep. They have the benches there as well you can buy. Memoriam.
And there's going to be donations, so it didn't cost the city a whole lot of money. Cemetery staff's going to take care of it. So the initial outlay is being made now. anything else that's going to be put in there can be done through donations, things of that kind.
And just a word about that marketing thing that we were talking about. The $10,000 is not coming from taxpayers.
That's
We want to
correct.
make that clear.
Yeah, that's the BIA money.
It's the BIA money that was left over from when the BIA was here. It's being held in trust, I guess, by the city, and they're using it out of that. So never fear, everybody. They're not taking your tax dollars for it.
Well, the city stepped in to govern, take the place of the BIA, but obviously they're not going to be able to do what the BIA does. So they can't dabble in marketing. They can't dabble in that kind of thing. So now you have a willing participant who has a plan. They have enough confidence in to let him have the 10 grand.
And I think the downtown business people, at least talk to them and they have confidence too. Just so don't take anything away from Sandor. I've talked to the guy before. He seems like a pretty nice guy. I had some tough questions for him. I'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow. But yeah, we'll see what the council says about that. So my next item is 12.2, Dave. Echo Ninja.
Echo Ninja. Let's go down there to 12.2.
Echo Ninja, and this is pretty cool. This gentleman, I can't remember his name, but anyway, years ago he started this Echo Ninja thing that was just two people. Him and the big cack himself were the guys that started it. And I can't remember this gentleman's name, but it's in the thing there. But anyway, it's grown from 2 people to 100, and they clean up the road and that. And the Echo Ninjas take care of the section of Portage Road from just behind the casino there into Chippewa. And now they want to get people in to paint the wall and make it attractive and clean it up. And there's a rock little island there that has nothing. They want to put eggs and a big Easter bunny, a big bunny there in honor of Bunny Brandt, who was a part of the Echo Ninjas. And she was a great lady. If you ever met Bunny Brandt, you'd know what I'm talking about. And he wants to do all this, but not with taxpayers' money, with their own money. They don't want any money from the city. They just want the okay to be able to spruce all that up. And I listened to the guy.
Michael John Henley.
Yeah, Michael Hanley, is that his name?
Henley, yeah.
Yeah, Henley, yeah.
Michael.
And I tell you, I watched the video. It looks good. I mean, I'd say, hey, go for it, buddy. It's going to make it look better than it does down there. And they want to do it, so they got a plan like Sandor does, and away they go, right? So I think that's pretty cool. You got to look at that's item 12.2. Just check it out, and if you get a chance, the video is in the presentation. You can watch it. And this guy's pretty serious, and he seems like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, it's on around Portage Road. These things are happening, and it won't cost the city any money.
No, they don't want any money from the city. They just want permission to do it.
Yeah.
Hey, if they're going to clean it up, and there's a path that goes down there too. They want to clean up and call it Echo Ninja Way and have different displays in it, and they're going to maintain it, keep it clean, and it goes right down towards the Table Rock House, right down to the falls. You can walk down this path, and yeah, it's pretty cool that they're going to do this. So I'm see what the council says. I can't imagine them saying no, but you never know. I'm not on council.
I don't know what the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles think of this. Hey, you stole our stuff.
They stole our name, Echo Ninja. Okay, and I'm jumping right from there to 14.1, Dave.
Okay. Let me get there. 14.1.
I don't know if you see anything else in between that you're interested in that interested you. It's a lot of just fluff.
Oh, the transit, free transit.
Yeah, free transit. Councilor Only 8, Ruth Ann New Estate, Councilor New Estate, offering free bus rides for seniors and teenagers. And I think it's a nice motion, but my opinion, the Niagara Transit is running at a huge deficit as it is, and the tax levy for Niagara Falls has doubled since the region took over the transit. I just have to wonder if free is the way to go. And also, the way it operates, it takes a long time to get across the city, so convenience is a determining factor whether people use the public transportation or not. And I don't think a lot of people will take advantage of it, so free won't cost us anything. I don't think it'll cost the transit system a lot. So I would say that this motion, I would approve it.
I wouldn't, because, well, they had free seniors month or something like that. I don't know how many seniors they got riding. Anything that's free is never usually appreciated. So you have to charge something. I would say a toonie. Toonie, something low, but you have to put something in there. You have to pay for it in some way or another. Toonie might not make a whole lot of difference to the budget of the Transit Commission. But it has to be known this is not free. It's not fluff. And when free stuff goes around, people take advantage of it. Anytime there's a party, there's a lot of free beer. You'll find half drunk beer bottles all over the place because people lose their beer and they go back and get another one.
Another free one.
Yeah. So it's never appreciated. Charge them $1, and that doesn't happen. So the free stuff is okay. Now I seem it's kind of funny. She's supposed to be a conservative, and she's doing a socialist thing here.
Yeah,
just
really.
like Mandani in New York City, right?
Great point.
Yeah.
Great point.
So she's a conservative, but she's now dabbling in social democracy, democratic socialism. So
social democracy.
Yeah. So
that's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Whoa,
we'll see what they say.
Yeah, I'm pretty soon she'll be lining up behind Jagmeet Singh
and being thrown out of the government and sent back to Vancouver. But yeah, we'll see what city council says. There's a lot of different opinions on this one. To me, I don't use it. I would never use public transit anyway. I just don't like it. Just on the whole idea of that I can't be there when I need to be there. I got to leave an hour early to get anywhere. I don't know how it worked out with the free seniors for a month. I mean, some people will be able to take advantage of it, and good for them. But at the end of the day, free is free, and people don't appreciate stuff that's free.
No, they don't. So pay something. Every time you get on the bus throwing loony, doesn't matter. Pay something.
But don't they have passes as well?
They can get passes, and a free pass is not good. If you want to get a pass and you want to give everybody a break, costs $30 a month for a pass, $1 a day kind of thing. Then you're getting something. You have a pass. It's not free. You'll appreciate it a little bit more.
A lot cheaper than having a car, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Okay, our next one is 15.1. Councilor Lococo's motion regarding Bill C5, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But I'm going to talk about something now. One of my sponsors that is Dave's favorite when I talk about this, and that is Hamel Machine Company. Look at the smile on his face. You think I just gave him a popsicle.
Where are the popsicles, by the way, Ed?
Oh, I wish we had one. It's hot here. Hamel Machine Company, of course, been around Niagara Falls since 1948, and Dave will attest to the fact that industry always looks for small machine shops to help them out when they move into a city. They want to know there's someone there to help them. And especially these days when so much depends on speed of getting parts for their equipment or getting their equipment fixed. A lot of parts today come from Taiwan and China and Germany and South America and Mexico.
And Arkansas.
And sometimes you just can't wait. I mean, when your machines are down, you're losing money. Time is money. So where do they go? Hamel Machine Company. They go over there. They look at the machine. Yes, we can fix it. And as a matter of fact, we can make it better so it works more efficiently for you and saves you more money. That's what Hamel Machine Shop does. They have 3D printers there. They can print parts. They can re-engineer parts. They do it all there and repair parts. They go to big industry like the wine industry, rich products. They go to smaller industries like the agricultural products who need it to harvest their hydroponic goods, and they ship their parts all over the world because when they make a part, it's that good. Hamel Machine Company, 2 locations in Niagara Falls, Kent Drive, over here on Bridge Street, and they don't forget about us little guys who just need something fixed on our snowblower, or we need a part made or repaired. They do all that too. They'll even design a new fence for your backyard and gates and weld them up and get them powder coated for you. They'll do the whole shot.
Is it true that they built a rocket ship for Elon Musk? I heard that rumor.
Yeah, Elon Musk, he's lost his mind, this guy. But
I don't think
he's losing his mind. But anyway, yeah, they might have helped Elon Musk if he asked them. I know they could.
Yeah.
If he asked them, but he probably depends on machine shops too.
Indeed. Look, when somebody's trying to locate a business, an industry of some kind that needs industrial background, one of the things they look at, does this city have the logistics? One of those logistics, do they have a machine shop? And that's it, right? Can we go someplace?
That's right.
We have to go all the way to Toronto or Hamilton, get something fixed? What do we have? Something right here. We do.
Yep, since 1948. By the way, Hamel Machine Company, tell them Paul from your city sent you if you go down there and support our sponsors because they support the city. They're good corporate citizens. Maybe King James should have went down there and talked to them about the Tesla thing, about the witchcraft.
Oh, yeah. Well, they used to think rocket ships were witchcraft. But
Rocket Ship 7 was when I was a kid. Item 15.1, Councilor Lococo's motion regarding Bill C5, and it's really hard to understand what this is all about and what effects it'll have on Niagara should it be revoked. And I think most municipalities are in favor of getting rid of it. This motion is to get a report from staff of the effect on responsible building in Niagara moving forward, then send that report to everyone that has a say. Dave, did you understand any of that? I was looking
I think
at
I
it
do.
going, I couldn't figure it out. I mean,
Well,
what's all this all about?
Right now, Bill 5, well, the city has adapted climate change in their adaptation to implementation plan. So, climate is changing no matter what the reason. So that is clear. So the climate is warming. Things are warming up. There's just no ifs, ands, and buts, whether it's periodical, cyclical, man-made, whoever, but it's happening. So, yeah, well, I believe in science.
That's why
witchcraft.
That's why I didn't understand it. Obviously,
Yeah. So anyway, so the city's already, got onto that and started to implement their plan. However, Bill 5 by the Ontario legislator, Project Ontario, by Unleashing the Economy Act, wants to fast track all kinds of projects and reducing regulatory barriers. I think everybody's good with that. Is what barriers do they want to overcome? So the good ones and the bad ones. Of course, there's all kinds of Byzantine rubbish in our Canadian government everywhere. It's just massive, trying to push it aside. So what we want to do is get rid of that. But in and among that, there will be things that are important. And one of them is the climate change thing. How will climate change be affecting Niagara? What is proposed changes happening? And how do we prepare for them? Climate change is happening. That's without doubt. Lots of people doubt how it's happening, but it is happening. So how do we then plan forward?
So are they thinking that this Bill C5, because they want it rescinded, is going to interfere with that? In other words, Bill C5 is not taking that into account, and it could cause big trouble down the road. Is that kind of where they're thinking?
Yeah, they're worried. Okay. They're worried about the climate initiatives and the planning for climate change to be sort of swept aside with the deregulation and the sped up projects and all.
Okay,
I think that's very much what Lori Lococo put that up there, and she's thinking ahead on this. I'm pretty sure she wants unnecessary barriers in the Byzantine bureaucracy to move aside. But in and among that, you might want to get rid of 90% of it, but there could be 10%, and it may be that which focuses on climate and how that's going to affect us here. If we project in the future, there's going to be less water going over the falls. We might have all kinds of different things, floods, issues, storm issues, drought issues,
fire issues.
Yeah, could be anything like that.
Okay, so now I get it a little bit anyway. So we'll see what they have to say about 15.1. 15.2, I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Bubble Zone. Councillor Oni 8, Ruth Van Nieuwesteeg, Councillor Nieuwesteeg, wants to have a bubble zone. And it's not a bubble party like you went to in Mexico in the pool.
No. Oh, my expectations just went down.
This is a zone around faith-based and cultural institutions in city-owned, make that read taxpayer-owned, institutions. They want a bubble zone that you can't hold signs up or protest in and all that. And I wish these arrogant councilors would realize they work for the taxpayers, that there's no such thing as city-owned properties and buildings. She wants to keep protesters from protesting around these buildings, an area in which people cannot protest. This is an egregious violation of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms taxpayers have the rights guaranteed by the charter to protest with signs, especially on taxpayer property, as long as they don't violate any of the parts of the charter, like like racial slur speak, and what do they call that when they talk bad about a race, something like that, like
Just racism,
racism or anything like that is going to
derogatory
derogatory
comments based on race, creed, religion, all that.
And
but she's mixed it. Like, excuse me for interrupting,
go ahead,
she's added public spaces and the vicinity of faith-based cultural institutions. Well, yes. What do we had in Toronto recently? You had the Sikhs and Indians fighting, right, around temples, things like that kind. So, yeah, you don't want that to happen in and around religious institutions. They're private, basically. They belong to that faith, that temple, all that kind of thing. So you don't want that fraction there. But public spaces is a whole different matter.
Well, anything public, anything that's owned by the city is public. Like that media creator is owned by the city. They can protest in there if they're brave enough. The sidewalks are public. City Hall is public. They can't stop you from being out there.
Now you can,
unless you're causing a riot or you're promoting some racist agenda or something like that. That is also against the charter, right?
Yeah. You have to plan too. You have to, you can't just go down the street and block traffic.
No, you cannot.
Or on a sidewalk and block pedestrians.
No, you cannot. You cannot disturb the flow of traffic. That's part of it, right? But you can walk down the street with a sign if you're not doing it saying "Make love, not war," and nobody can stop you from saying that. Or down with whatever, or I support whatever, as long as it's not degrading or something to a race of people or something like that, a racial thing, right? Whether it's whether you're in favor of Palestine or you're in favor of Israel. I mean, that's fine. I stand with Israel, but you can't say kill all, like that kind of thing.
You kill all Arabs.
Yeah, you can't say that. I mean, that's illegal. So, and it comes back to the charter. Yeah,
and it should be illegal. And
I can't even say kill anymore. It's unalive.
Neutralize. Yeah. So some protests invoke harassment and intimidation. You're conflating all protests. So you're thinking just because one or two protests there has been violence and intimidation. So what do you want to do? Add them all up and say they're all the same?
Is this another socialist thing she's trying to pull on everybody?
I think Comrade Newstead is getting.
Might have to change your name now.
Yeah.
But it makes.
I wonder if she's got a picture of Karl Marx on her desk now.
I don't know where she's going because, she ran for the Conservatives. I know she's liberal, and now she wants to clamp down on all kinds of stuff that's guaranteed to us under our rights and freedoms. I don't get where she's going with all this stuff. It doesn't make sense.
Now, when she talks about religious institutions, I'm with her because those are private.
Yeah, you can't go onto their property.
Yeah, like you can be invited on. Whether you can protest outside of it because there's a certain member, like for instance, the Sikh temples in BC, where they have had known terrorists attend them. Well, yeah, you might want to stand outside there and protest that, but you have to be a good distance away because the temple itself is private.
Like if you go up the street to St. Pat's Church.
That's protesting an individual, not the religion, too. Remember that.
Yeah, if you go up to St. Pat's Church, you stand out there with a sign, "Not my Pope," on the front sidewalk, right? There's nothing they can do. Now, you used to go up those steps onto their private property, which they own. Yeah, they can have you trespassed.
Yeah.
If you won't leave, right? Yeah. But if you stand in front, I don't think anybody would do this, but if you did, "Not my Pope," there's nothing they could do.
Well, Sully, Williams O'Sullivan, he was a child. When he was a child, he was victimized by a priest, pedophile, and he for years he protested in front of St. Kevin's Church in Welland. He couldn't do anything about it.
No,
because he was on public
property. But as soon as you step onto their property,
yes,
then you can be trespassed. So, but Councilor Newstead really is making me laugh here because of the crazy stuff that she's doing. I mean, as far as this goes, bubble zone. Yet they'll put the Azerbaijan flag up at city council. She's okay with that. So this doesn't even jive. I mean, what are they? I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
Yeah, this is. I see her intent here, and let me just say that I tip my hat to her intent, trying to make things reduce the amount of intimidation that people feel and all that conflict and whatever. But 99% of all protests are usually, good protests. And if you do have conflicts, you're not going to be able to stop it anyway, because if people want to be violent and intimidating, they're going to. So if you say, "Oh well, you can't do that here in this bubble zone," if they want to do it, they're going to.
So we'll get out of the bubble zone and do it.
Yeah.
How big is the bubble zone?
Supposed to be, in over public spaces, but public spaces are public
I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Okay, now I'm going to get to my last sponsor, and then we're going to discuss anything left over, and then we're out of here. So my last sponsor, of course, is the Niagara Parks Commission. And I'm going to tell you, we in Niagara Falls, we do not appreciate what we have a mile away from where we're sitting right now. And that is Niagara Falls. There's 32 miles of beautiful parkland, beautiful park, and the Niagara Parks Commission is custodian of all of that. Not only do they take care of it, they have a centerpiece called Niagara Falls right in the middle. They have shops, they have restaurants, they have attractions, and some of the best attractions you're ever going to go to, like the Rankin Power Station, where you can walk out and look at the falls right there. These attractions they have and they run are fantastic. And not only do they have these attractions, like the Gorge Walk, like the Spanish Aero Car, they have all these beautiful attractions for tourists and locals alike. And they have an attraction pass so you can pay one price and go to them all. How can you beat that?
That's fabulous.
That's fabulous.
That's great for the family.
Great for the family, but not just tourists. It's for us too. It's for us. People in Ontario can go get a parking pass, $50, and you can park at any of the attractions for free for the season. Can you imagine that? That's only for us. So I'm telling you, if you're coming into the city, go down to the Niagara Parks and deal with their attractions, see their attractions. If you live here, take advantage of the beauty of Niagara Parks. Go down there, stand at the brink of the falls, look down. It is mesmerizing. And I'm always afraid if I keep looking too long, I want to go in for a swim because it's just it draws you.
Yeah, well, there is that sort of hypnotic effect.
Yeah, don't do it though. Don't do it.
Hydrohypnotics.
I mean, it's just beautiful down there, and anybody in town, you should take advantage of it. Niagara Parks Commission does an excellent job. They just opened the Whirlpool restaurant down at the golf club there, the most beautiful public golf course in the world, maybe, the Whirlpool Golf Club. And they have the new pub and lounge there. You can go sit there and check it out and have a nice lunch down there. They've got everything. It's unbelievable what you have. You got to go take advantage of the Niagara Parks Commission. NiagaraParks.com. That's the address. NiagaraParks.com for their website. You can find everything out about them, whether you're from town or not. We don't appreciate it. We don't go down there enough. And when I do go down there, I'm just blown away every time I see Niagara Falls. It's unbelievable.
Well, we become acclimatized. When I went to Egypt and I saw the pyramids, I just about fell over. I was so amazed that somebody 4,500 years ago could build that.
Yeah, well, I was amazed when I sat in the Kentucky Fried Chicken across the street and looked at them. That was fantastic.
Well, but I noticed the natives, the people who live there, walk by them and not even looking at them, right? They're just acclimatized. We got to get out of that. We have to really say, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah,
go down by the river. Go down by the gorge. Go down the gorge. It's fabulous.
And the Parks Commission runs all that land. It takes care of it and makes sure it's pristine. And yeah, they have a lot of good stuff going on down there. Niagara Parks Commission, thank you so much for sponsoring the show. Support our sponsors. They support the show. They support the city. And they're just good citizens. And we want to make sure that they get supported by the people who live here. And that's about all I got on the agenda. There's not much more on there. A couple controversial issues. That's about it. Other than that, it's a pretty short agenda. Unless the time wasters get a hold of it and kill time with nonsense. it should go pretty fast, actually, with a couple of controversial issues they're going to be talking about. But see anything else there, Davey?
I would just like to point out, like the business about the signs and stuff like that. I'm wondering, like, the particular counselor that they were mostly directed at, and the reason why they were there. He's very, very popular, and buddies with lots of the other counselors. I'm wondering if a less popular counselor went there, how they would have ruled on this. If there was a counselor there that a number of, like, the mayor or others didn't like, I wonder if they would come down the same way. I'm not so sure, but it might be up to Burgess, right, who looks this up and says, well, this is okay and this isn't, that kind of thing. So I'm wondering, depending on the personality, if it would have gone down the same way.
Well, also there's the fact that, perhaps if Mike Strange took the other way and just said, I'm stepping down until everything's over and see where it all falls. But I think these women would be there. They've been going to other city councils around Ontario because they want to get these laws changed. And they've been doing delegations, presentations to other councils in Ontario because they want to change this rule about who can sit on city council. So I know they're here now. And, whether it's an ulterior motive, like we're going to do it now because we got a counselor who's falls under this rule.
For sure, that was a motivation for coming.
Or
sure.
Whether it's just because they've been going to other city councils and now it's Niagara Falls' turn.
Did they bring signs to the other ones?
Yes.
Did they?
Yes.
Did they do
Niagara
it before?
Falls,
how much before Mike Strange was charged did this happen?
A long time. They've been doing it for a while. Women of Ontario Now, or whatever they're called.
Well, this obviously motivated them to come to.
It could be, but other city councilors allow signs.
Yeah, some do, some don't.
Yeah, some do, and the region overturned their policy against them as long as they weren't,
directed
at one thing, like.
Well, that was the implication here by Burgess, that it was directed at an individual in many ways, and that infringes or intimidates the council. I don't know. I think some of the councilors would have been in favor of the signs. We'll see. We'll see how they.
Yeah, we'll see how they do it, because I don't see if his name was on there, but just.
But everybody knew.
Well, everybody knew because they said that. The city council said that, but if they didn't say that, would everybody know?
Well, sure. It's one of the things in the paper constantly.
Like if I sat there and I just saw some women sitting there with a sign that said, what did the sign say? What did it say? I can't remember. Women of Ontario say no. Yeah, women of Ontario say no. If there was just women sitting there with those signs and they let them sit there and didn't say anything, would anybody say anything about it? Would anybody think anything about it?
I think as long as once they came to speak, they obviously wanted the attention put on it. And something I miss saying here, but the low income for seniors and persons with disabilities, their deferral program will begin 2026.
Oh yeah, the $500 a year for 10 years.
Yeah, so that'll happen too.
Yeah, so that'll happen too. You can get $500 of your taxes deferred, and you can do it for 10 years. And of course, if anything happens to you or you sell your house in the meantime, you owe the city that money back. So they're going to give you $500 off if you want to take advantage of that program.
Another thing is just the trust funds. It might, if anyone's interested, is keying in on that. They've had an audit, and the trust funds are an interesting thing. They can come from donations, investments, government grants, all kinds of things of that kind. So
I think a lot of the trust funds have to do with cemeteries, where somebody pays for a plot or whatever, and they leave money there for the maintenance of the plot for their family.
Oh, it could be some of it, yeah.
And some of it's out of those trust funds. So
okay. Because municipal trust funds typically are for infrastructure. Now, I don't know what it's like in Ontario, but that would be in most other places. Trust funds are there for, in some places, for people to invest tax free.
Yeah. So and those numbers that they're talking about in there, they were like $4,000, $5,000. They weren't like big numbers. I think a lot of them had to do with, you want to prepay for your cemetery plot, and they hold the money in trust.
Okay.
That kind of thing. I think that's what it is. I think something like that. You prepay for it, and they hold the money in trust to maintain it or whatever. And it's one of those things where that money's sitting there in trust, and they have to account for it, reconcile the account, and then of course justify anything that they're using out of it. Right?
Are you allowed to buy a whole lot of plots and then rent them out?
Rent them.
Yeah, because people can't afford.
We're going to bury you here for
yeah.
20 years, and then you're out.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, look, I can't afford the whole thing. Well, you can rent this one.
Rent this
You know,
plot for
so
10
much
years.
dollars is so many per month.
Yeah.
You know.
With an option to renew for another 10 in case you're not. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. Anyway, anything else, Davey boy?
That's it, I think.
Okay.
Have a great day, everyone.
Yeah,
And
enjoy the rest of the day. We had that nice little rain. I imagine it's twice as humid as it was out before because it hit the ground and went right back into the air.
Yeah, it was steamy.
And we could get these rains on and off all day because when it's 80, 89% humidity, 90% humidity in this heat, they can have pop-up showers off the lakes any second.
Well, when I was in Thailand, it rained every day, just for a little while. So
Florida.
I thought, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, Florida, 4 o'clock, bang, it rains for like 20 minutes, hard. And then it's gone, and it's beautiful the rest of the day. That's the tropics, right? Anyway, my name is Paul Killamere. This is Your City, Your Voice. Thanks for tuning in today to the City Council Agenda Review. I'll talk a little bit more about it tomorrow, and I will bring up anything that's been added because sometimes they add parts, new points in there in the agenda after they get them in today and they put them in for tomorrow.
This one was added, the bylaw of citizen appointments bylaw.
Yeah, there you
That
go.
was kind of interesting. Yeah, we didn't get a chance to talk to it, but that's kind of interesting. They want to go be able to appoint citizens rather than just city staff.
Yeah, they do that for a lot of committees, actually.
Yeah.
Yep, so.
But now they're doing a bylaw about it.
Yeah, that's great. That's good. It's good to get citizens involved in our city council. Anyway, we're out of here. Your City, Your Voice, 4680Q Radio. Dave Wheeler in to help me with the City Council Agenda Review today. My name is Paul Killamere. God bless you all. Have a great day. And please use it, City Council. Please use it.
Gary, look at my shirt. You're so jealous of this shirt.
We'll see you tomorrow at noon sharp. Promises made, promises kept. I'll be here. Have a great day, everybody. Trash Talk on Tuesday, mañana. Ciao, ciao. We'll see you later.